Today, I want to talk about something that's been circling around the Arc Raiders community. So a lot of people have been asking for a pure PvE mode, where there's basically no PvP, no player conflict at all. And honestly, I completely disagree with that. I think Arc Raiders needs PvP to survive. Take it out and the entire experience loses its soul. Before you dislike the video and leave hateful comments, let me explain why. But before I dig into the main points, I'm going to give you a quick overview of what Arc Raiders is for anyone new. Arc Raiders is a third-person extraction shooter set in a ruined future where mechanical invaders, called Arcs, they roam the world. You drop into open zones, you gather loot, take on objectives, and fight both the Arcs and other players who want the same resources as well. It is a tense, unpredictable survival loop where anything can ruin your plans at any moment. From a rocketeer to a rival squad to just accidentally jumping off of a building. There's a lot that can happen, and you can also just communicate with random players as well and team up. It is a sandbox, and because it's a sandbox, I don't think PvP should be removed. Now, let me explain why PvP is not optional for this game. It's required. No! First point, without PvP, the game would feel very hollow. Yes, Arcs are a threat. They hit hard and they look intimidating, but once you get your gear going or once you learn their patterns, that threat, it kind of fades away. Late game, Arcs become more like angry vending machines than actual bosses. They just become like literally a loot pool. You just look at them and like, oh, I need your parts, let me kill you, ha ha ha. And if the entire game relied only on PvE, what happens when everyone masters the Arc roster? That challenge just completely utterly disappears. The danger disappears. The only time you would fail is if you blink right when a rocketeer fires. And if blinking causes a mission failure, that is not really a difficulty. You suck. That's just life being petty. For example, just look at the late game right now. People are already finishing the game and people are kind of already reaching the end game. I've already seen people on Twitter or X, whatever it's called now, post that they're already finished with their expedition setup. They're already ready to prestige and it's barely been a week. So basically those decently geared players, they can delete a rocketeer, they can delete a bastion so fast it barely has time to scream. Even like the big ones, they lose their dramatic weight when you know exactly where to stand, you know exactly where to shoot, and how to punish each different animation. If the game removed PvP and relied only on Arcs to create the difficulty, what happens? Everyone becomes bored. Even the devs said originally when they made the PvE only mode, they said that the game was boring after a while. That's why they made it a PvE-EVP extraction game. Because once it's only PvE, you know, Arc Raiders just kind of becomes a predictable checklist. Shoot the Arc, loot the Arc, extract, repeat. There's no thriller, there's no tension. Oh no, someone is watching us.
He's just standing there, menacingly!
Instead, the game becomes like a treadmill, a metal slapping treadmill if you will, because they're Arcs. And then you know what would happen? Players would just storm Reddit or they'll storm the Steam community hub complaining that the Arcs feel too easy now and the game has no endgame depth. And then the devs they just have to keep buffing the bots or just make them insta-kill you and to balance it out. And what would happen then? All the new players that are hopping into the game for the first time, they see these one-hit kill wonders trying to figure out the game and they'll be quitting and the super veterans are going to be the only ones that are left. And even then, people would still find ways to like cheese the game. Oh, they make Arcs super difficult? I'll just hide in the building and just take pot shots. People will always find cheese. Second point that I want to talk about is Arc Raiders, it's not Helldivers. So there's a comparison I saw pretty frequently, which is between Arc Raiders and Helldivers 2. Helldivers 2 has a great PvE content, and so Arc Raiders should too, that's what they say. But these games are not even built with the same skeleton. Because Helldivers, it's a chaotic action buffet, you fight hordes upon hordes of enemies, almost non-stop, and you can go down 20 times and still respawn from orbit like a human yo-yo. Friendly fire is expected, explosions are everywhere, everything is built around like massive spectacle. Arc Raiders is completely the opposite of that. The game is built around scarcity, low tension, positioning, sound, immersion, panic. You get no respawns. If your teammate gets down in a bad spot, good luck dragging them away while rockets whistle over your head. The whole game is designed around the idea that players and Arcs together create that panic moment where you cannot get it scripted. It's not a scripted event, it's something that happens organically. Think about some of your best Arc Raiders moments. They probably sound like Oh, we were fighting another squad at the refinery, and then suddenly a bot came in and almost wiped out our teams. Or a fireball was burning me alive while I was fighting another player down the hallway, but I barely survived with 1 HP. What a miracle! Or we downed 2 players when we tried to finish them off and a Rocketeer just immediately popped up behind us and just blasted our butts to smithereens. Those kinds of moments, they would not exist without PvP. The triangle of you, the enemy players, and incoming arcs is what creates the chaos. It is what creates the stories. A pure PvE mode cannot recreate that. Robots don't improvise. Players do. And when both collide in the same space, everything becomes unpredictable. Another point is basically talking about Helldivers and Arc Raiders is let genres be genres. PvP games, PvE games, and PvPvE games, they all exist for a reason. They serve different audiences. Asking Arc Raiders to remove its PvP is like walking into like a McDonald's and then getting mad that they don't serve a prime rib dinner. People would stare at you like you would just walked into the wrong timeline looking like a crazed maniac. If you want a steak, go to a steakhouse. You do not ask the fry cook to reinvent the entire menu. Arc Raiders is built around a specific identity. Its loop revolves around risk, chaos, and tension created by human beings making questionable decisions under pressure. That is the fun. That is the spice. Removing PvP honestly would gut the core flavor and leave you with just like a bun. You want a hamburger? No, you just get a bun. And just like one last point that I want to add on is the replay value drops. The base PvP is just gone. If it's PvE only, there's no replay value. And this is a pretty big one. PvE only games, they kind of have a shelf life. Once you fight every archetype, once you perfect every strategy, once you figure out every safe angle to shoot a Rocketeer without getting turned into red mist, the experience kind of becomes routine. It becomes predictable. It becomes solved. The only reason why Helldivers 2 is still so replayable is just because they add new factions, they actually add changes to the game, and missions that you chase after. Arc Raiders, it has a lot of cool robots, but even the coolest enemy gets old if you fight it 1,000 times with no curveballs. And guess what? Human players are the curveballs. They are the reason every run feels fresh. You never know if you're going to get third-partied at the last second by a squad you did not even know was on the map, or you make a whole new squad friend. You never know if someone is watching you with binoculars or carrying an osprey, just looking at you ready to blast you in the butt cheeks. You don't know. Players bring that infinite variability. Some squads, they play smart. Some squads play like they left their brain in the login screen. Some squads, they left their whole system in the microwave just waiting for it to boot up. Some squads, they like to set up ambushes. Some squads, they don't even want to see you. They just want to hide and rat. You can't script player interactions. The arcs, they can give you great fights, but they cannot give you psychology. They cannot give you unpredictability. They cannot create those legendary moments you'll be telling your friends about for weeks. Imagine Arc Raiders with just pure PvE right now. After about 50 hours, the biggest mystery would be whether the next arc spawn will aim correctly, or if it spawns in a different location for the first time after 20 rounds. People would definitely start saying things like, oh, I missed the game when it was scary. I wish extraction felt more dangerous. And then we would be back to square one. PvP is what keeps the game alive for months instead of a few weekends. And I keep saying PvP, but I don't mean PvP as in like fighting, just players in general, because a lot of times I don't fight people. We become very friendly. We just say, don't shoot, and walk by each other. When I say PvP, I mean the sandbox part of PvP, okay? You don't have to kill everybody you see. It's not shoot on sight. It's crazy that people just don't realize that. And look, I get where the PvE crowd is coming from. Some people want to relax, and some people want to explore a zone without worrying about a squad watching them from a bush. That desire is valid, but I do not believe a game should twist itself into something completely different just to accommodate every preference. Not every game needs to be everything for everyone. Sometimes a game needs to stay in its lane so it can thrive instead of stretching itself thin. So PvP is not a little optional bonus in Arc Raiders, I think. It's the thing that keeps the game breathing. It adds tension, unpredictability. You don't know if the player is enemy or a new friend. It adds the replayability, and without it, the game becomes easy to master. It becomes very easy to predict and easy to get bored of. With it, every match has that electric chance of going completely off script. If you agree, let me know why. If you disagree, drop your arguments. Keep it nice and civil in comments, please. I want to hear what you think because this is a conversation worth having. And if you enjoy Arc Raiders content, feel free to like, comment, and stick around for more. And also, I do have a membership program. If you want to join the membership, feed me some food. I want to eat a hamburger for once in my life instead of just a piece of bread. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Peace!